Hello there, my name is Victor Oguinka, and you're welcome to the midweek edition of Today in the News, and of course all of those newspapers across the Federation, and looking at the major headlines everywhere.
Over 1,000 people are benefiting from free medical services provided by the FCT chapter.
Some of the Arsenal fans will be very interested in this news. Arsenal smash club transfer record signed Pep.
What's your name?
I'm Ebuna Sandra.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
How long have you been riding?
For 2 years now.
Why did you start riding?
I started riding because I searched for job around Lagos. I can't find any job. I mean, jobs out there are jobs that are not worth doing. Because you imagine me waking up around 8 a.m. to go to a job, and then monthly I get 20,000 naira for a pay, for salary. While working with Go-Kada, I earn 20,000 naira daily. I mean, it's not making any sense. I use this Go-Kada to train myself during my ND. I'm going back for my HND by God's grace. But if the government should take this work from me, I can't go back. Because right now, I'm doing my IT with Go-Kada. If I should leave this work now, I can't go back to school next year. My friends are aware this is what I do. But now the government, they have asked me several times, Sandra, what are you going to do? Now the government is trying to take this thing from you. They're telling them we'll work on it, we'll resolve it. They say God will help you. Please, government, if not for anything, please, for the fact that I'm a female, I'm doing this work, please, consider. I'm not the only female. We have women out there doing the same work. They have families. Some single women, some single mothers, they train their children with this job. If you should take this job from us, and there's nothing we can do again, please consider us. I can't sell my body outside because I want to make money. That's why I'm doing this work. I know the risk. It is a very big risk I'm taking. I know what I face on the road. This bike is the best thing. People are happy we are out there. I know many people that have interviewed and asked their opinion on this issue. They say it's not making any sense. But the government can do it. I know you can do it, but please, we are begging. Don't take this job away from me.
Good morning and welcome to Vanguard Live. It's your favorite program, your morning show. Today in the news, here we read and analyze the front pages of the dailies across Nigeria. I'm Damilola Ogunshaki and I'm with my co-host Precious Chukwudi. Precious, how was your weekend?
Very well, thank you.
Mine was great, even if they asked me.
Sorry.
Okay, let's start with the front page of Vanguard newspaper. Insecurity, anarchy looms, cleric one as protests hold nationwide. We support Christian Association of Nigeria's prayer walk. NSCIA says, abducted seminarian killed after 3 weeks. Adeboye leads thousands in 2-kilometer prayer walk. Delta Christian Association of Nigeria asks for Amoteku in Niger Delta, killed seminarian, Nigeria drifting towards anarchy. This is coming from Reverend Martins, and details can be found on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. And moving on to other stories above the nameplates on page 15, Buhari, Anambra, Ekiti, others mourn after Nwanko, and LASG targets 175 million passengers on waterways annually. Other stories, police arrest 40 violators, impound 188 Okada and 78 tricycles. Details can be found on page 10 and page 38. And then on page 10 also, life pensions cult grants Serap Living compelling 36 governors to disclose payments. Police begin recruitment of 800 special constables in Ekiti. Details can be found on page 11 on the Vanguard newspaper. And on page 8, federal government moves to sign pacts on looted assets as Malami departs for United States. Although local government polls alleged imposition of candidate threatens APC primaries. You can see this on page 10 of Vanguard newspaper. And lastly, on page 42, insecurity, the long walk to community policing. And on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, the picture, you can see Pastor Enoch Adeboye, leading RCCG pastors and members in prayer work against rising insecurity in the country yesterday in Lagos State. And from Vanguard newspaper, we'll move straight to the Nation newspaper.
And on the Nation newspaper, we have major headlines. Adeboye leads march as Christians protest killings. Nationwide prayer walk in cities. Man with explosive held in Winners Chapel. You can find more on this story on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. And above, and stories above, we have Ibadan Obas gurus about Olu Ibadan. That story can be found on page 44. And on page 5, we have Okada ban. Lagos rolls out 65 buses, ferries, and 550 vehicles coming. Also on page 47 of the Nation newspaper, we have school sports target 20 million kids. FEM partners NSF. And lastly, on the Nation newspaper, we have Osun governor's wife resettles a stranded Nigerian. You can find that story on page 44. And from the Nation newspaper, we move to the Punch.
And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Southwest plans anti-graft teams for Amotekun. And the rider, Lagos Ogun Ekiti, harmonized Amotekun bills on Thursday. Ogun Ekiti police begin community policing recruitment. And details can be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And moving on to other stories, Lassa fever, Ondo places 600 on surveillance. You can see this on page 8. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, tragedy averted as Kaduna Winners Chapel bomber arrested. You can see these details on page 41 of the Punch newspaper. And from there, we go straight to Daily Trust.
And on Daily Trust, we have major headline: ex-core member turns down offer to be freed by Boko Haram. Thanks church for rescue efforts. Female colleague regains freedom. You can find that story on page 6 of Daily Trust. And also you can find the federal government's new revenue at all costs drive will hurt economy, said by analysts. You can find that story on page 15. And also on page 48 of Daily Trust, we have fear grips PDP faction in-house as panel concludes probe. And the story at the bottom of Daily Trust, we have new NAS principal officers residents violate Abuja master plan. You can find that story on page 36. And lastly, on Daily Trust, we have bomb scare. Police confirm arrest of suspected in Kaduna. That story can be found on page 51 of Daily Trust. And from Daily Trust, move on to this day newspaper.
And on the front page of this day newspaper, police constitute committees on recruitment for community policing. Buhari queries Nanono over fertilizer import waivers. Council licenses. CBN warns banks, forex dealers against violation of fertilizer initiative. And that is all we have on the review for this morning. After the break, we have a public affairs analyst with us in the studio. We will be analyzing some of these front pages with us. Let's take a breather, and when we come back, we'll continue with this. And don't forget to like and follow us on our social media platforms and visit our website, vanguardngr.com, to get more of our top stories. We'll be back.
What's your name?
I'm Ebuna Sandra.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
How long have you been riding?
For 2 years now.
Why did you start riding?
I started riding because I searched for job around Lagos. I can't find any job. I mean, jobs out there are jobs that are not worth doing. Because you imagine me waking up around 8 a.m. to go to a job, and then monthly I get 20,000 naira for a pay, for salary. While working with Gokada, I earn 20,000 naira daily. I mean, it's not making any sense. I use this Gokada to train myself during my ND. I'm going back for my HND by God's grace. But if the government should take this work from me, I can't go back. Because right now I'm doing my IT with Gokada. If I should leave this work now, I can't go back to school next year. My friends are aware this is what I do. But now the government, they have asked me several times, Sandra, what are you going to do? Now the government is trying to take this thing from you. They're telling them we'll work on it, we'll resolve it. They say God will help you. Please, government, if not for anything, please, for the fact that I'm a female, I'm doing this work. Please, consider. I'm not.
and welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. And of course, we have a very important guest in the studio, and his name is Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye. He's a public analyst. Mr. Ifeanyi, welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on the show. All right, well, without further much ado, we're going to go straight into Amotekun, and that's Southwest Plans anti-graft teams for Amotekun. And this is coming from all the back and forth that we've had from, stories on Amotekun of how people are saying we support it, we don't support it, and eventually Malami and also some of the Southwest governors coming together and saying that they want to sit down and put out a legal framework. Now, what can we say about this whole legal framework process?
I think right from day one, the agitation of Amotekun was looking at it as a threat to the existing structure of Nigerian police. But after much consultation with the Chief Judge and the Attorney General of the Federation with the Southwest governors, it was finally decided that it is not a state police structure, but a community policing to complement the efforts of the Nigerian police. And looking at their framework, I believe the Amotekun has come to stay, because it's over time based on the high level or widespread of insecurity, not just within the Southwest, but which extends to other regions. Amnesty International has at last year, there was about 20,000 cases of Boko Haram Fulani killings, and over 900 people were reported to have been kidnapped. So with all this back and forth security challenge, I think it's high time that everybody sit down and decide. Amotekun as a body is a welcome development. It's time they sit down and define their operations and rules.
Okay, so this anti-graft legal framework has they're trying to put in some checks and balances. People who are going to misuse power and also
to abuse the privilege, because for every offices there are privilege and there should be checks at least so people can know their boundaries, know their level and their operations.
Okay, but this Amotekun, there's been a lot of people saying that people have been against it and people have been for
Nobody
it.
is against
it. There's actually been people that have been saying that this is not the right move, that they're using it for other motives. But now, the federal government gave them some time to prepare a bill that they should bring, and they read this within a short period. So is this like giving a good reason for people to trust the Amotekun and say, okay, this is what they are for?
Well, till the bill is made to the public for public consumption, then people can say little or nothing much about it. But looking at the initiative based on the genuity or the primary purpose of the Amotekun, I think everybody applaud it, except some few section of Nigerians who feel threatened, maybe based on the coexistence of the nation.
But federal government said they will also be community policing.
Amotekun
we
is
know
community policing. It is not a state police structure.
It's a regional policing. And now, but is there going to be a clash within both of them? Are they going to go pari passu?
Well, the federal government till then, because if you before the independence, about 1946-47, we always have a state police that existed with the so-called police the white men started within the western region. But today the case is different.
Okay, on the Amotekun story still, there are reports that individual states would be funding, there'll be like security trust fund for.
Of course.
Yes. So what do you think? How has the progress been so far?
That's an area I can't say. How will they be funded and who is funding them, and what's the transparency of how will the funding be managed? What percent goes into the workforce, like the manpower, and what goes into logistics, and what percent goes into equipment, and so those are things people should know. They should make available to people. Okay,
moving on to other stories. Federal government moves to sign part on looted assets. Now, we know that this is. I think we should say that it's a good thing, and it's good for the economy of Nigeria. But the issue is that should Nigeria be happy about this? About the loot that is going to be signed?
There is nothing to sign, and I don't think there is anything to be happy, because over time, the first tenure of the president, he told us he's going to UK and some other countries to sign a pact with them to recover stolen funds back to the country, to develop the country. But today, what are we seeing? Going globetrotting, borrowing, looking for how to source funds to fund our budget. even the ones they recovered from Abacha, at least this is the fourth or third tranche. What has been the impact of the money in the economy? We can't say. So Malami going to, he just on a holiday, so I don't see any outcome.
But the federal government said they are going to sign.
They are not signing any pact. What they recovered money so far, what have they put it into? Signing pact to recover money.
Okay, but if they actually sign this, are you saying that they should have accountability?
Those Nigerians taking money out there to the white man's country, is the white man a fool? You receive money from you as a corrupt individual. Are you expecting him to give you back the money over time? It's not done. Why is it that we are receiving Abacha's money after over 21 years? Why didn't they recover it since? Under the tenure of Obasanjo or Jonathan or Yaradua? Why now?
Okay,
these are what you consider.
There are reports that some of these monies that are being recovered, they want to, share to the less privileged people here.
They are sharing it within themselves because it's not making impact in the country.
So you don't support the whole signing?
I don't know what the signing has done because to me it's
okay. Still on that, signing and US travels. Nnamdi Kanu was invited to Trump's campaign rally yesterday, and it's really something that the IPOB are talking about and saying that this is a good light, that it shows that he's being recognized by the international community. It's not easy for him to come, for him to be invited. I mean, some people have never been invited to Trump's rally. What do you think about that?
Well, Nnamdi Kanu is somebody who has done well, and no matter how people look at him, initially I used to look at him as one riffraff, but along the line I started having a change of mind based on some of the ideals or whatever he champion. He might have a good cause, but the way he goes about it sometimes doesn't look reasonable. But I believe that for US to recognize Nnamdi Kanu, it shows that they are monitoring the activities of human rights violations, the killings, kidnapping, and other social vices which the present administration have.
Okay. So speaking about that, the United States government disclosed that Nigeria did not comply with the established identity management and information criteria assessing. That's why the US ban has been put on Nigerian traveling. But the main thing is that this criteria, what are the criteria for this that the Nigerian government has not been able to meet?
Well, it's left for the US government to disclose it fully because there are still speculations till today. Some will tell you that it's for human rights violation, but they didn't state it clearly. It was Zimbabwe or Tanzania which they stated clearly that they were banned due to human rights violation by I think one of the sitting head of government. But the truth remains that our issues hinge on a lot of issues. The issue of ban can be bordered as a lot within different issues. Because you look at Nigeria, human rights violation is at its peak. You look at the killings, you look at the religious clash, and you tell me that the US government doesn't know all these things. The present administration, they are not taking heed to issues.
So is this criteria now, is it a very difficult thing for the government to meet? So is it very difficult? That's why this is...
Well, based on what is happening in the north, the US have every information, which some of us might not be fully privileged because the government is built around propaganda. You look at the issue of the radicalizing of and releasing of Boko Haram members who have been incarceration for over 2 years and absorbing them back to society. Not only that, giving them, putting them in a normal home as against the IDPs who are suffering. And so-called Boko Haram, you absorb the Nigerian army, you pay them, you promote them. So that's a threat. That's why we call it double identity management. I believe that's one of the reasons why the US government put up those issues.
Okay. So still on the US ban for Nigeria, not all Nigerians are not terrorists. It's just that some sect of people have decided that we will not have peace, and this is really affecting us at large. So what do you think that, what kind of palliative measures do you think can be put in place so that things like this does not occur? Like, America is where most Nigerians want to go for maybe their medical treatments and whatnot. So what do you expect? What do you think should be put in place for things like this?
Everything rise and fall on leadership. There is nothing that an individual or we as people can do. The government has not seen need to review some of its archaic policies and structures. You cannot tell me that the whole world is accusing you of a particular thing and you still keep doing that thing, and you say the Americans should go to hell, and tomorrow you want to go there for medical tourism, people want to go there for school. It's telling on the average Nigerians, not on the government, because that's just the truth.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ifeanyi. It's been nice having you in the studio with us. Okay, right now we'll go on a break, and after the break, we also have another analyst with us, the online editor of Vanguard, will be in the studio with us in the next section. And don't forget to like and follow us on our social media platforms, and visit our website, vanguardngra.com, to get more of our top stories. Let's take a breather, we'll be back.
Hello and welcome back, and this is part 2 of the Today in the News, and of course we have a very delectable guest in the studio, and it's Victor Oguyinka, online editor of Vanguard. You're welcome.
Thank
Victor.
you. Thank
How
you
are
very
you?
much. Very fine. Good to be here.
All right, so we're going to the second segment, and we're going to be asking you questions on Adeboye leads march as Christian protest killings, and this is coming from the killings that have been happening of late. And the CAN chairman of Adamawa was murdered gruesomely, and also last week Saturday we also had a cleric also who was murdered, and they found his body on the roadside. This is, and also CAN also declared 3 days fasting and prayer, and yesterday was like the last day of the fasting and prayer. So across the nations there were protests, not like protests, more like walk, Christian prayer walks, where you were praying alongside, also saying we reject killings, we reject violence, we don't want insecurities, and different placards across the nation. What can you say about this whole process?
Oh, well, thank you, Precious. I think it's very important that we have at the back of our mind that it's long time coming, and I can say it is even long overdue. Some persons have been asking, religious leaders to be more involved. We cannot take away religious leaders' influence on the state of nation affair for a country like Nigeria. Looking at the weight they carry in the society, the number of people, audience, congregation that they control, and Pastor Adeboye, of course, over time has been one of the most influential persons even in the world. He always make maybe top 50, top 100, and so for him to come out to make this prayer work. It's a very, very commendable one. And now let's talk about deaths and killings in Nigeria, because it is now multifaceted. Once upon a time, we used to think it is a terrorism invasion. We talk about Boko Haram. Now we have ISWAP, we have kidnappings, we have banditry, we have thefts, and every other thing that have contributed to the loss of lives and properties in numbers. So unless as many people as possible needs to be much more involved, talking about it and putting the government on their toes to ensure that they start doing what they are supposed to do. Just last week there was clamor for the replacement of security service chiefs, that came, and one of the spokespersons to the president was also reported to have said that we should be glad that Boko Haram is now beheading people and not killing, and many other reactions. So it has really, really gone from bad to worse. And of course, every other thing anybody needs to do, whether you have to pray, whether you have to, make some much more decisions. I think this is about that time to go and all out.
Still on this story, Nathaniel Bassi, an alleged Khan member, was arrested with a bomb in Kaduna Church, Living Faith Church, this thing. And they said he's a Khan member that he wants to bomb and this thing. But now, speaking of the president, sometime last month he said that these insecurities going on in Nigeria is not to target any religious group or ethnic group. It's on everybody. So is this justifying the statement? Because we have a lot of people on social media who has been going against it, saying no, it's really targeted against the Christians. And now we have a Khan member. Yes.
Pastor Adeboye said that if you kill a Christian, you kill a brother. He said if you kill a Muslim, you kill a potential brother. So it does not matter the religious affiliation of whoever has been killing, or who has been killed, or who is next to be killed. We are first Nigerian before we are any other thing. So it is bad enough that we have to shed tears and grief when it is avoidable. It is beyond a Christian affair. The protest yesterday was a walk for Nigeria, not a walk against killing of Christians, not a walk against killing Southerners or Easterners or Northerners. It's a walk for peace, to rid insecurity from our society.
Now you said it's a walk for peace.
Yeah.
Is this walk for peace, is it to the government or to the killers?
It is a walk for
to
peace.
The the government.
It is. Let us focus on the message of that protest. Of that walk. Yeah. The message of that protest is Nigeria needs to be sanitized. Nigeria needs to be sanctified. Nigeria needs to get back the peace it used to enjoy once upon a time. Okay. We are talking about killings of people using teenage as suicide bombers. We are talking about the continuous detaining of a girl that refused to convert from one religion to another. We are talking about the killing or bombing of a church. We are talking about the kidnapping of an emir. It has cut across all religious coloration in this country.
So the meeting of the is it to the government or to the killers? Like the message, or is for everybody?
The message is a Nigerian message. As a matter of fact, it's a global message. And I'm not going to, the moment you start bringing it down to whether it is for the killer or the government, we are playing it down.
Yes.
Let us focus on the importance of why we need to, speak out as much as we can against anything that we think, is against our societal norms. Okay. So it is a global message.
Okay, away from the protests and everything, we're moving on to Okada ban. And this happened last week Saturday. That was when he was commencing, and there've been a lot of reports from people across board that we don't like the idea, and also they've also been about 60 I think about some, let's say, bikes, 108 something bikes banned on that particular day because of the violated traffic laws, as well as some commuters also complaining about the fact that they couldn't get to their destination on time. For example, I have a friend in particular who works on the island, and she'll take a bus from where she stays and then get to the island like around Obalinde, then to take the keke around that side. So she called me on Saturday and said, I'm around where I would usually take keke. There is no keke There is no bike, nothing. I feel like I'm so stranded. And you know, she waited. She was hoping that maybe this is just some lie or something. And next thing, she's doing this Uber. Yeah, she's doing Uber to get to work. And she's like, I can't continue like this. So I want you to shed more light on this whole Okada ban issue.
Okay, thank you. Let's it's a very, very broad one. So I'm looking at where it's just let's just start from somewhere.
Yes.
There was a report last week that about 689 deaths had been recorded, and then several thousand injuries. Recorded cases, by Okada tricycle incidents. Okay. Now, having said that, we should ask ourselves, why are people using or this means of transportation to get to their destination? It is something that we must not get our eyes off, And I think the major reason is because of gridlocks. The need for you to get to where you are going to on time. It is not enough for us to scratch the surface of a problem. As dangerous as these people may be, this is not the first time that there will be a ban or a restriction on Okada tricycle movement in Lagos, indeed in some part of Nigeria also. But then, let us ask ourselves these very critical questions. These people are supposed to ease, movement for some persons. You have to get to a place in record time, and you cannot stay long hours on traffic because it is becoming very, very unbearable in all, across all axes of the state. What happens to those people that will get stranded? I hope people won't start getting unnecessary queries and lose their job in the process of doing this. But having said that, we now look at what are the palliatives that the government is trying to put in place to ensure that,
we'll talk on the palliatives when we come back.
Okay.
Viewers, there's a video that will be playing on the screen on the Okada ban. So we'll come back after that.
What's your name?
I'm Ebuna Sandra.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
How long have you been riding?
For 2 years now.
Why did you start riding?
I started riding because I searched for job around Lagos. I can't find any job. Jobs out there are jobs that are not worth doing. Because you imagine me waking up around 8 a.m. to go to a job, and then monthly I get 20,000 naira for a pay, for salary. While working with Okada, I earn 20,000 naira daily. It's not making any sense. I use this Okada to train myself during my ND. I'm going back for my HND by God's grace. But if the government should take this work from me, I can't go back. Because right now I'm doing my IT with Okada. If I should leave this work now, I can't go back to school next year. My friends are aware this is what I do. But now the government, they have asked me several times, Sandra, what are you going to do? Now the government is trying to take this thing from you. They're telling them we'll work on it, we'll resolve it. They say God will help you. Please, government, if not for anything, please, for the fact that I'm a female, I'm doing this work, please, I'm not the only female. We have women out there doing the same work. They have families. Some single women, some single mothers, they train their children with this job. If you should take this job from us, and there's nothing we can do again, please consider us. I can't sell my body outside because I want to make money. That's why I'm doing this work. I know the risk. It's a very big risk I'm taking. I know what I face on the road. This bike is the best thing. People are happy we are out there. I know many people that have interviewed and asked their opinion on this issue. They say it's not making any sense. But the government can do it. I know you can do it, but please, we are begging. Don't take this job away from me.
Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News. Yeah, we read and analyze the front pages of the dailies in Nigeria, and we'll be with Victor Ubuyinka in the studio. And yes, we're talking on the Okada ban. Victor, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're talking about the palliative measures that the government are taking considering this Okada ban.
Yeah.
And recently, the Lagos State has actually provided some buses for people, and the fares, Lagos State Bus Limited Service Limited has also put it, regulated the bill. But now, this morning, I can use it as an example, coming from my side, from Ikorodu to this side. Now they are saying that it's supposed to be 200 naira, but the buses are taking it 500.
Okay.
And apart from that, not only that, we also have a lot of people and gridlock on the road, not moving based on this Okada ban. Now, a lot of people would have taken this but now, what are also other measures that they are taking apart from, because we know that this bus service won't get to everybody and it will get to all areas in Lagos State.
Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that last part, that this, the what's supposed to be a palliative is indeed not going to serve all purposes. Let us look at some of the places, that this restriction is. There are not places that this, buses can ply.
Yes.
So people that use the Okada tricycle in that axis would still continue to suffer.
Okay.
And not just continue to suffer, because now we understand that Danfo drivers and other, yellow buses are taking advantage of the situation to cash in on passengers. Just like you said, there's been an hike. So if the government needs to do something, I think they should first start from the regulations of these prices.
Okay, well, what are these places? Said bus that they are going to play. No, now we're looking at towards my 12 and the beggar, and we know that from there to, I think from the beggar to whether that part, no bus can apply that side, just bikes, and they be banned from this area now. So those people now, are they telling them, okay, you have to trek to where you are going to, you have to walk, or they have to find other means to go to that side, or the government should consider these areas?
Well, in the end, maybe when there's enough review of how this has gone, maybe in the next 1 week, this is the first working day, since that ban. Maybe in the end, there might just still be some flexibilities across. But the truth is, the government has made it clear what they want to achieve from this. First, they said that they have to reduce the number of incidents, that has come as a result of this thing. Second, they mentioned in that release that there are some trades that has been long forgotten because of Okada business and tricycle business, talking about tailoring, and other things like that. They are expecting that people will come back to start learning some of those things.
Talking about, sorry to cut you off. Talking about the lady, she said, I think a lady in one of the videos I played, she said, for her first degree, for her first part of her degree, she used this Okada business to support herself. That accumulated daily, an estimate of maybe 20,000 naira, that's what she gets daily. But if she works, if she does a work of like this, and she won't be getting up to that amount. Now this person will say she should go back into tailoring, and she might not have any experience in that part, in the trading part. So now, what is our fate when it comes to accepting this thing?
Her driving skill was not brought from heaven. She learned it at some point in her lifetime. Yes. So if it is a no to that one, I know somehow she's going to come up with something else to do. But then we are just looking at how much it has affected people and how much people are putting into this thing. Let me tell you, someone was interviewed, one of the Okada riders, and the person said, indeed, it is a very, very dangerous, it's not a profession, it's a very dangerous trade, to go into. And he said that by himself, whether there was a restriction or not, that he would not ply the highway.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that himself. Okay, so we all what we are just trying to get from this is we are supposed to protect life and properties, and that is one of the responsibility of the government. So if they think that one of the ways, I'm just hoping that along the line they have something much more important to give to us than the releasing of 65 new buses that we might necessarily not get access to over time. I just hope that there's something else they are doing to ensure that people don't continue to suffer.
Okay, so speaking on Okada ban, if you're coming through like Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and you want to take like the beggar route, you know that when you come down from the bridge, you'd either take a keke or a bike. Now, I heard this morning.
From what bridge? Sorry.
That's the beggar bridge.
Okay.
Yes, that overhead bridge.
Yeah.
You take a keke or a bike to just get to Ogba. So I heard reports that people who would usually take keke to get their destination in Ogba, there's no more keke again. So they have to actually wait for buses. And buses are available, just that the roads are quite too small for these buses to ply through. So that alone itself is causing a lot of gridlock as well. And also having people stand at the bus stations waiting for bus and for a long time coming and not getting buses, whereas you get keke that will just take you, that's the keke nape will take you to wherever you're going to, and they will load in their numbers and they are quick, so you can have like 2 of them on the road. But now having a bus that will just contain one part of the road and the road is not really well. How does this solve this whole process? Because people are saying that maybe they should provide me a smaller version of buses, not these ones that they are using, they want to use to take us through our normal route when we equally just enter keke and be fine.
Okay, first, I'm not a government person, so it's not going to be a pro-government defense, because when we were talking about palliative the other time, I also mentioned that maybe after the first week review or first month review, they will really know that this is much more difficult than they are actually anticipating. When we were also talking about palliative, I mentioned that some of the things that they have on the table right now to ease movement would not work. Indeed, would not work. Some of the roads are too tiny. As a matter of fact, you'll be expecting that in some roads that you take buses away from those places and you allow smaller, mini kind of bus to ply on those places. But it is what it is right now, and I'm sure that they are going to do their own risk and damage assessments and they see what they get from it. So for all those things, the pains that people would face, it has to stay for a while.
Okay. So do you think that the level of insecurity would increase as a result of this?
Oh well, the government said that they have it all covered. Because of course, naturally, you would think that the next port of call for people to do is to look for all means possible, illegal to make.
But do you think the federal government should do like something that will help educate the people more? These people more. A lot of them are saying that this is affecting them, just looking at the financial aspect and the easy movement. But we are talking about the accidental this and the insecurity that it's mostly linked to. So do you think the government should provide other things like a conference where they can educate these people more and tell them, okay, this is the reason why we're doing this, and not just reading it on the news?
As a matter of fact, I think the government is doing that already. It is now left for them to go for those kind of lectures. And that was why they were talking about tailoring, bricklaying and all of those things. Because they were giving a reason why this has to stop. First, security. Second, sustainability. Third, noble cause of profession. Some are dying. Those are some of the things that they put on the table to say that we have to, prevent some trade from going into extinction. Look at the majority of people affected or that are into this Okada tricycle business. Some of them are from outside Lagos, and almost immediately when that news broke, we learned that some of them are returning back to where they came from.
And thank you. Away from that, let's go to Vanguard Sports. And Gallo lands in Manchester to debut against Chelsea February 17. What's your take on that?
It's interesting to see that Gallo is the new savior now that everybody's starting looking out for Chelsea. First, it was Fernandes over the weekend, which I thought was actually rushed into his debut, but it was not a very bad one for him, even though he saw a yellow card in the course of all this thing. Man United is in crisis. They must handle it as if it's a crisis and start preparing for a long-term solution for this. Igalo, welcome on board. Good for him. His career is 30 and now he's praying for high-profile club. If we can still call Manchester United a high-profile club.
Okay, Ronaldo marks 50th goal for Juventus.
Yeah.
And I think Ronaldo, a lot of people have been saying this and this thing, that it's really a good thing for Juventus and also for Ronaldo. People have been saying that yes, he's a goal scorer and.
Ronaldo creates goals, he just doesn't score goals. So he's doing what everybody would expect him to do. But good one for him at 33, he's still firing all cylinders. So fantastic, it doesn't look like he's going to stop anytime soon. Let's still enjoy him while we can.
Okay, and Enyimba qualified for Confederation Cup quarter-final stage.
Yeah, 2-time winner of CAF Champions League, but now it looks like they are stretching their luck right now. Quarterfinals, good for them. Like you say in football, you take it one step at a time. So let them concentrate on this, and then hopefully the semi-final will come, and they might just make another history. So good one for Nigerian football.
Okay, I hope you don't mind want to take Mr. and Mrs. I think I usually tell you that I look forward to this daily. Mrs. is actually the first person saying today. She said the Premiership has started fully last season. Your friends turned this place into a viewing center. They finished 2 bags of rice and 6 pots of soup in 2 weeks. So how are we playing this season? And the mister is saying, away matches only. I think we're still talking about the sports. And recently, let me relate to this woman now. I have a lot of people, and you see them saying, even my dad, when he comes with his people and they want to view ball, you see them washing plates. I always complain to that police washing plate, because you have people eating and all this.
I know what Smith is saying. A lot of times when you're watching things that are really very important to you, like maybe your soap opera or sports, there are tendencies that you get to eat more.
Yes.
Because you'll be eating more and then you just realize that your stomach is filled up, but you'll be like, bring more food.
And this one is not even only him, but it's going to be.
And now, so when his
friends around,
so they won't know when they start to dismantle like half bag of rice.
And now this is going, the work is going to be on the woman. That's why Mrs. is complaining.
You know, football is a tradition. It's a world of its own. When you get into it, it is the more the merrier kind of lifestyle. You might not have as much as you think you can take you for a week, but when it comes to, putting that passion, to play, you can borrow money to get it all done. But interestingly, is Mr. is also conscious of how much has been, as it has taken away in a short space of time, and he says away matches only. It means that this time we are going to go to somebody else's house, to get all it is. But what we say is that it is all about love.
I think sports just brings people together. Sports brings a lot of people together. It brings men together, and you see the merriment where they are playing ball. You don't see people calling all of them. You just see them supporting. That's one thing about sports. Okay, it's been great having you in the studio with us, Mr. Victor, and we also have to have you next time.
Hopefully.
Okay. And that is all on the paper review and analysis this morning. I'm Damlola Ogushake, and I've been with my co-host,
Precious Chukudi.
Okay, and don't forget to like and follow us on our social media platforms and visit our website www.vanguardngr.com to get more of our top story. And today is the beginning of the week, Monday. Plan and enjoy your week. Bye from me.
And bye from me as well.